So we are here in 2019, which can only mean one thing: the January transfer window is now open. And going around the championship at this point in time, we have an absolute abundance of transfer rumours, which we will be discussing in today's video, guys. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys have seen any other transfer rumours currently going around the championship. We have a lot to discuss in today's video, and we also had some games going on in the championship yesterday as well, which we'll have a quick discussion about. We had some ridiculous scorelines going on in those games, so do let me know down below what you made of your team's performance. And if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct for the New Year's Day games, I will include your comment on screen now. So fair play to everyone who did get one correct. And we'll have a quick discussion about each of the games. We had Aston Villa drawing 2-2 with QPR. Tammy Abraham scoring both goals in that game for Aston Villa. He could possibly be leaving there. We'll have a bit of a discussion about him later in the video. We have Blackburn Rovers pulling off an upset against West Brom, beating them by 2-1 in that game. West Brom having the player sent off. Goals coming from Charlie Mulgrew and Bradley Dack from the home side. A lively encounter between Brentford and Norwich finished as a 1-1 draw. Norwich getting back into that game quite late on with Tim Close coming up with an equaliser. Derby and Middlesbrough also finished as a 1-1 draw. Harry Wilson giving Derby the lead with a nice finish in that game, but Jordan Hugill managed to level things up. I think that both sides will be in and around the top 6 this season. And we had Hull City beating Bolton Wanderers by 6-0. Bolton fans, let me know down below what you were thinking during this game. But it has to be said that Hull are currently on the best run of form in the championship. They've been absolutely superb lately. Tomorrow I'll have my December team of the month video coming out, and we got to have a few Hull players featuring in that because they've been superb lately. Jarrod Bowen for one, what a player he's been looking like. And we have Millwall beating Ipswich by 3-2. This now leaves Ipswich 10 points off safety already this season, and things aren't looking brilliant for Ipswich at this point in time. The first half, they probably could have had a 2 or 3 goal lead, to be completely honest, with the way they were playing, but Millwall reacted well in the second half, and it's another loss for Ipswich. And we had Forest beating Leeds United by 4-2 in a very dramatic game at the City Ground. It was Forest who took the lead in this game. Leeds then had a player sent off. They managed to turn the game around and go 2-1 up, but then Forest managed to get back into it and take all 3 points with a 4-2 home victory. A game which Karanka really needed to win. He was coming under increasing pressure after a poor run of form lately for Nottingham Forest, but a fantastic 3 points for them in this game, whereas Leeds still sat top of the championship, but they have lost their last 2 matches now. We saw Swansea getting back to winning ways with a comfortable 4-1 away victory against Reading. Reading still sat in the relegation zone and weren't looking brilliant in this one. Swansea looking back to their best with a lot more clinical edge going forward. We had Rotherham beating my team Preston by 2-1. Preston will be quite disappointed with this, really, especially how the first half went. We were on top for that half and somehow we went into half time 1 goal behind after having an abundance of chances. The second half was a lot more even, and Rotherham, in fair play to them, you know, they took the chance in this game. Sheffield Wednesday drew 1-1 with Birmingham. They've been looking a lot better lately ever since sacking their manager. Bristol City beat Stoke 2-0 away from home, which continues to pile the pressure on Stoke manager Gary Rowett, who now sits 14th in the championship with Stoke City. Something's got to change there sooner rather than later, because they have the players in that squad to be challenging for the top 6. They should be doing way better than they currently are. And then finally we had Sheffield United beating Wigan Athletic by 3-0. They've been scoring an absolute abundance of goals lately, Sheffield United, winning their last 3 matches all very convincingly, and they're now currently only 2 points away from Norwich City in 2nd place in the championship. So who knows, could Sheffield United form a charge for the top 2 this season? Let me know down below. But there were the games that took place on New Year's Day. Do let me know in the comments what you made of your team's performance. And before we do get into any of the transfer rumours, we have seen some completed transfers go through in the championship in the past few days, which we'll talk about a few of them. Josh Ginnelly has completed the move to Preston North End, moving from Walsall, the winger coming in. We needed players in this position, so hopefully he'll have a positive impact for us. We've seen Kieran Dowell complete a loan move to Sheffield United from Everton for the remainder of the season. While he was on loan at Nottingham Forest last season, I was very impressed from him. He scored 9 goals from midfield that season. Scored some absolute crackers for Forest, so fitting into the Sheffield United side, I think he gives them a different dynamic. We've also seen Van La Parra move to Middlesbrough in the window as well. I think this will be a good option. Middlesbrough needs some creativity and pace out wide, and Van La Parra I thought was quite good in Huddersfield's promotion season. Mason Holgate has completed a loan move to West Brom. They were in need of a couple of defenders, and quite a few championship clubs were in for Holgate. Aston Villa have gone ahead and recalled Tommy Elphick from his loan spell at Hull City. This was certainly something that Aston Villa needs to do. They really do need bolstering in that defensive area. You know, with Twan Xavier out injured, they only really had James Chester as an out-and-out centre-back, so this was something that definitely made sense. And a couple of weeks ago, we also saw Aston Villa complete the signing of Croatian goalkeeper Lovro Kalinic. I think this was another area where Villa needed to look into strengthening, really, with Nyland being a little bit hit or miss so far this season for him. I think he'll be a good option for them. And it's looking pretty much guaranteed from when I'm recording this video video that Steve Bruce is going to be the next Sheffield Wednesday manager. Sheffield Wednesday lately in the Championship have been on a bit of a rollercoaster ride really for the past few years, making it to 2 playoffs and then the last 2 seasons in the Championship struggling. It's been a really hectic time for Sheffield Wednesday, but bringing in a manager like Steve Bruce I think is a sensible option for them. Aston Villa fans probably have quite differing opinions on what they make of Steve Bruce, but where Sheffield Wednesday are at this point in time, bringing in a manager like Steve Bruce I think will be a sensible appointment for them. But we will now move on into some transfer rumours, and the first big one currently going around the Championship is Jarrod Bowen. Now we spoke about Hull City earlier on in the video. They have been on an unbelievable run of form in the Championship lately, and a lot of that is owed to Jarrod Bowen. He's really been getting back to his best lately in the Championship. So far this season we've seen him score 11 goals and pick up 3 assists as well, and there are a lot of Premier League clubs said to be interested in the Hull City winger. It's understandable to see why, with Tottenham Hotspur probably being the biggest club currently said to be interested. The fee being talked about is ranging from about 12 million to 20 million depending on how much Hull City want him for. Hull have got to drive a hard bargain with this one in my opinion. I believe the player's still got 3.5 years left in his contract, so Hull have got no real reason to sell. What I'd be interested to know from you guys is how much do you think that a player like Jarrod Bowen is currently worth? He's 22 years old, and considering some of the other players who have left the Championship recently, you know, thinking of players like James Maddison, do you think that Jarrod Bowen does justify a similar price? In my opinion, you know, he's a very talented player, so I'd say so. And some news that Villa fans won't be too happy about, that is Tammy Abraham being linked with a move to Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. Now, at this point in time, Tammy Abraham has been unreal on his loan spell at Aston Villa so far. In 20 appearances, he's been able to score 16 goals, a really prolific goal scorer in the Championship. Anything inside the penalty box, Tammy Abraham's going to find the back of the net. And in terms of Wolves, this deal does make quite a lot of sense in my opinion. They are probably 1 striker short in their squad at this point in time. Jimenez, I think, has been a good option for them in the Premier League so far. Bonatini, I'm not sure, does cut it, but someone like Tammy Abraham really would fit into the way they play. Speaking of Aston Villa, they're also been linked with a couple of loan moves at this point in time. Browning from Everton is one being talked about. He was on loan at Preston a couple of years ago, and I've got to say, I wasn't overly convinced by him. He can either play as a fullback or a centre-back. I'd probably argue his better position is at centre-back. At fullback, he can be caught out a little bit. It can be a little bit sluggish in that position and a little bit slow off the mark. He also had a loan spell at Sunderland last season as well. Obviously, we all know what happened with Sunderland that year. So, Villa going in for Browning, I'm not sure. I think they could look into other options. And they're also said to be interested in a loan move for Czech Decore from Lens in League 2 in France. And reportedly, Newcastle are said to be interested in Kemar Roofe of Leeds United. This would be an absolute disaster if Leeds were to lose Roofe at this point in time in the season. So far being their top scorer, he scored 13 goals in the Championship so far and picked up 2 assists as well. Leeds in the past, you know, have been known to sell some of their big players, you know, thinking back to players like Chris Wood, Lewis Cook and some other players to Premier League clubs, but at this point in time, Leeds are in a better position than they've ever been in terms of being on the verge of the Premier League. They're currently sat at the top of the Championship, and this squad needs to be kept together. I think it would be too much of a risk to be selling Roofe at this point in time and trying to replace him in January. They've already lost Samu Saiss, and so to lose another player of Kemar Roofe's importance to this squad really wouldn't be brilliant, especially with Leeds losing their last 2 matches in the Championship. In terms of Newcastle, it's an interesting one. You never really know whether they're willing to spend the money or not. Leeds certainly aren't going to accept anything that's below price for Kemar Roofe. That's certainly one that you're going to need to keep your eye on throughout the window. Liverpool are said to be interested in Bristol City left-back Lloyd Kelly. So far this season I've been very impressed with him. When Joe Bryan was sold from Bristol City to Fulham in the summer transfer window, I was a little bit concerned about who would fill the gap for Bristol City, but so far Lloyd Kelly has been absolutely fantastic. Only 20 years old. It's understandable to see why some Premier League interest is coming for this guy. And the transfer rumour that caught me off guard a little bit, Nelson Oliveira being linked with a loan move to Swansea City for the remainder of the season. It's clear to see that Oliveira and Daniel Farke don't really get on. He's not been involved in the picture for Norwich City so far, but if you get a player like Nelson Oliveira playing to his maximum potential, he can be a very effective striker in the Championship, in my opinion. It's obvious that him and Farke don't see eye to eye, but playing in a system like Swansea City, I think they could get the best out of him. So far, they have been impressed by Ollie McBurney. It's interesting to see whether Swansea do want to go down this route. His best year in the Championship was back in 2016/17, where he was able to score 15 goals in all competitions for Norwich that season. Would be an interesting one to keep your eye on that one as well. Derby County are said to be interested in a loan move for Newcastle United winger Jacob Murphy. So far, he's not really settled into the Premier League, and so a loan spell maybe would make sense for him. His last season with Norwich in the Championship, he managed to score 10 goals as a left winger that year. Preston North End could be going back in for Colin Quano. We were heavily linked with him throughout the summer transfer window, but in the end, nothing came off from this transfer. So far, he's not really featured in the Premier League for Huddersfield, and Preston are said to be interested once again. And a lot of Championship clubs are currently interested in Jayden Stockley of Exeter. So far this season, in 24 appearances in League 2, he's been able to score 16 goals. Being the target man, this is just the sort of player who Preston need at this point in time. We've lacked that physical presence up front since John Hugo left all the way back in the last January transfer window. The clubs currently said to be interested are Preston North End, Wigan Athletic, Millwall and MK Dons. So there is quite a lot of competition for him. I believe he has a release clause of about 700k. A really odd transfer rumour which came up the other week, I very much doubt that this has got anything behind it, was Alan Brown being linked with a move to Wolves in the Premier League as well. So far this season, Brown's been able to score 8 goals and pick up 3 assists from midfield. The reason I don't think this has got anything in it is because it doesn't really fit into Wolves' transfer policy at all. I do think that at some point in time, Alan Brown will be leaving Preston. You know, I do think he has the potential to be playing in the Premier League. He's absolutely fantastic. He's really excelled in playing in that number 10 position for us so far this season, but I really doubt he's going to be making the move to Wolves in January. Another Preston player currently being linked away from the club is Chris Maxwell, with quite a few clubs currently said to be interested. Bristol City are being one of them, and at this point in time, Preston are said to be targeting another goalkeeper to bring in the January transfer window, and then that would mean that either Declan Rudd or Chris Maxwell would have to leave, and it is looking like it will be Chris Maxwell who will be on his way out of Deepdale. Leeds United are still being linked with a move for Newcastle goalkeeper Carl Darlow. He's not really been involved in the picture since Dubravka has been so good for Newcastle lately. This one would make sense in my opinion. Barely Peacock Farrell, although I do think he has the potential to become a good goalkeeper in the Championship, has dropped a couple of clangers recently, and so to bring in someone with a bit more experience would make sense for Leeds. Stuart McKinstry from Motherwell is also being linked with a move to Leeds United. Only 16 years old, the midfielder from Motherwell is said to be being tracked by Leeds currently. And Leeds are also said to be interested in Zuba from Hoffenheim. This would be quite a high profile move if this one was to come off. I'd be impressed if Leeds were able to do it, but with the way that Leeds are going at this point in time, who knows what's possible for them really. Currently playing for Hoffenheim, he can play in a numerous amount of positions. He can either play as a fullback, a wingback, or as a midfielder, or even on the wing. He's a Swiss international, and like I said, that would be a very ambitious move if that was pulled off. And another quite ambitious transfer is Alexander Miljosevic, currently being linked with a move to Sheffield Wednesday. I believe he has been a little bit injury prone over the past few years of his career, which doesn't really fit into Sheffield Wednesday. They've got a lot of players who do tend to be quite injury prone there, but is said to be a very good defender, has scored a couple of bangers in his time in his career as well so far. A bit of an odd one that popped up the other day was Yannick Vilchuk being linked with a move to Sheffield United. He's currently out on loan at Bolton, although his loan spell could be cut short and he could be loaned back out to Sheffield United. Sheffield United, they are in need of a couple of wingers, a bit of pace and power out wide, but a player like Vilchuk with not the best final product for a team going for the top 2 or possibly the top 6 this season, I'm not sure would be the best option. Derby County are said to be interested in Chelsea youngster Ethan Mpandu, a very highly rated player, obviously with Frank Lampard using that Chelsea connection once again. This would be a very good deal if Derby were able to pull it off in my opinion. They are in need of another centre-back in my opinion, and Mpandu would plug that gap very well. It's just a question of whether Chelsea are willing to let him go out on loan or not. And it's no surprise to see Max Aarons from Norwich City attracting some Premier League interest. So far he's been absolutely sublime for Norwich City. He really has stepped up into the first team this season, and Everton and Arsenal are both said to be interested in the Norwich City youngster. What I'd like to know from Norwich fans is, how much do you think that a player like Max Aarons would be worth in the future? I think he can go all the way. He looks like a superb youngster. There has been talk about Rudy Gestede going out on loan possibly to Ipswich Town. It would make sense in my opinion for Middlesbrough to be loaning out a player like Gestede. So far this season he's not really been involved. He's only had 1 start for Middlesbrough all season and has yet to score a goal for them. If Ipswich were able to pull this off, that would be a brilliant signing for them in my opinion. Gives them something a little bit different going forward, gives them that physical presence, and if he was playing week in week out, I still do think he's a decent Championship striker. And Ipswich are also said to be interested in a loan move for Liam Bridcut, currently at Nottingham Forest, the defensive midfielder, yet to make a start for Forest so far this season. It's looking like Ipswich are targeting players with Championship experience to try and salvage this season. Like I said, they're currently 10 points from safety. They're going to need some big signs in this window. And then finally, we are also seeing the possibility of Harvey Barnes being recalled by Leicester, and that could really have a serious implication on West Brom's season. So far, he's probably been one of the best players in the Championship, scoring 9 goals and picking up 6 assists as well. If West Brom were to lose Harvey Barnes at this stage and not replace him, that would seriously damage their chances at the top 2. But guys, there you have it. There are the transfer rumours which are currently circulating around the Championship. If you guys have seen any others that we didn't mention in today's video, make sure to let me know about them in the comments down below. Well, apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So thank you very much for watching. If you have gone to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.